And we're back again.
All right. My next guest is another regular, usually on every single week, and Michael Bogart, 21st Century Faith.
How you doing, Bernie?
Not bad. How are you?
Like your crown. It's really, it's shiny. I like shiny stuff.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
I would say so. You've got a lot of cares.
You don't want to deal with what I deal with.
And where do I get a suit like that? I'm kind of envious.
Yeah, there's a guy out back near the dumpster. No.
Okay, I'll try to be sure and see him on the way out.
All right, so what's up? What's new?
Well, for summer break, and of course I've been paying attention to the conventions coming up this summer, and we've got the Republican convention going on right now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, with my segment called 21st Century Faith, I always try to talk about how Christian faith and how the Bible is relevant in the 21st century. And so many Christians of all different stripes, left, right, center, all, at least in the United States, all want to claim that, Jesus is on their side and they're representing Christian values and that sort of thing, which may be true, I don't know. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how little Jesus was involved in politics. I mean, honestly, Jesus seemed like he avoided political issues like the plague. Remember when they came to him with the coin, should we pay taxes to Caesar or not? And Jesus said, well, if it's Caesar's, give it to him, but be sure and give to God what God owns. Give God what belongs to him. When Pilate asked him, at the trial, are you a king? They're saying you're the king of the Jews, are you? And Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. And so, really, it doesn't seem like Jesus had a lot of interest in the kind of politics that we are experiencing, in our world today.
Yeah.
Even the New Testament, the Apostle Paul writes in Romans 13 that we're supposed to, obey the government authorities. But if you do a little historical research, the book of Romans, when Paul wrote that, Romans 13, he probably wrote it in the year 55 or 56 AD. Guess who was emperor of Rome? Nero. One of the worst possible emperors of Rome.
Isn't that when Rome burned?
Well, a little bit later on, Rome burned, and of course Nero blamed it on the Christians so he could hang it on them, which probably was completely untrue.
Yeah.
Why would Christians burn Rome down? I don't know. But
bad pizza.
Yeah, right. Little Caesar's pizza was no good.
Oh, I thought Little Caesar's was Caesar's son. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. But so he's saying even bad government has a value. They do enforce laws. They do keep society from turning into chaos, and that to that extent they deserve citizens' cooperation, even if you don't think they're the government that you would really want. So. Other than that, Christianity doesn't have that much to say about politics. But we got into the political game in the Middle Ages. I don't know if you know much about that segment of history, but the Roman Empire in the West began to break down in the 300s and really bad in the 400s. By 450, really, the Roman government was on its way out. By 475, it didn't exist in the Western Europe. It continued on in Asia, but it didn't exist in the West. And so what happened was the only organization still functioning in the chaos of the barbarian invasions and all of that was the Roman Catholic Church, the popes, the Bishop of Rome. And so more and more they began to step into the leadership vacuum because somebody had to do something in the chaos. They could still help the poor. They could still, like, for example, Pope Leo negotiated with Attila the Hun when he marched on Rome and saved Rome from complete destruction. So they entered the political sphere because somebody had to do something. Well, later on in the Middle Ages, they're now used to political power, and then that's when the corruption and all that stuff came in. But honestly, if you go back to the original Christianity, it really doesn't have a lot to say about political situations other than be good citizens, try to cooperate, but our kingdom is somewhere else. So I just, not that necessarily means that Christians can't be involved in politics, but what I'm saying is we always assume that God is in the business of good politics when really it seems like Jesus came to bring a kingdom that was sort of a parallel kingdom. You've got the government of the world, and you've got this parallel thing where God is ruling in the lives of people. That's my understanding of it. I'm not the world's greatest expert on it, but I've got a pretty good seminary education, so it's worth considering.
How many years did you spend? seminary?
Well, I was in seminary for over about 4-year period.
Holy
have a master's,
mackerel.
but I wasn't in seminary that whole time. The way I got my degree was seminary, go do ministry, seminary, go do ministry. But I was in ministry for over 40 years and still am. So anyway, I've had a long time to think about these kinds of things.
Yeah. You lay them out pretty pretty good.
I tried to. I wanted to talk. Do I have a minute or so to talk about my book?
Do we? Yeah.
45-minute Bible. I think
I've got one in my car.
and you haven't read it yet.
I haven't gotten to it.
Okay, well, one of these days, it's a pretty good read. It's a good introduction to the Bible, and although we don't talk about all the issues in depth in this book, it gives you an overview of what's in it, what the main themes and purposes are, and I think it's a great way to sort of get back into the Bible or get into it for the first time if you haven't.
And don't be waiting. Get the 45-minute Bible, because nobody's coming out with the 44-minute Bible. Because the 44-minute Bible will be a much bigger seller, but we're not going to have one. So this is the one to get.
Right. And you get it at aspectministries.com, so you can grab it there. The other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is I've got a DVD version of it, which really is 45 minutes. But then this book on Islam, and with what we've been talking about with the guy in Italy or in France that drove the truck into the crowd, I mean, this is just tragic. And I think there was a shooting in Germany since then. And I think one of the things we have to do today is understand the difference between Islam itself and Islamic terrorism. And there are differences, and I think my book explains it. It's called Understanding Islam. So it's another, I think, most people should be familiar with these topics, and these are a good way to get into it.
Yeah. The amount of idiots in this world are very small. Percentage-wise, it's a joke. And you take any religion, if they're calling themselves a religion of peace, and there's a handful of imbeciles killing people, everybody's gonna just want to lump them all together, and it's not the way it is. We're smart enough to know that that's not the way it is.
The crazies end up dominating the agenda, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, it's been good talking to you.
That's cool. I don't think you had the DVDs last time, so I can't wait.
Well, the DVDs are a great way for people that aren't really readers, and you can get them at aspectministries.com under the products tab. And
cool.
And for the first person that calls or that actually emails me at mike@aspectministries.com, I will give away a free copy of whichever one you ask for.
Oh, nice. Okay, get on aspectministries.com.
Correct.
Let's get it bought up. All right. Good to see you again, Michael.
Good to see you,
All right.
buddy. Like your suit. I'm going to get one just like that.
Thanks. Actually, this is for sale for $1. We'll be right back.